So, welcome everybody to Oases Success podcast. This is the Atomic Action series, and today we're focusing on navigating the new order of business. And we have the pleasure to have with us today Esona Onuoha. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a visionary, a powerful entrepreneur, strategist, marketing professional. He's founded and is the managing director of a conglomerate of Mate and Smate International Limited, spanning substantial amount of businesses and data preservation, energy, media, mobility, and much more, which he's going to share with us across Africa and the UK. Such a multidisciplinary foundation, we just want to get a clearer understanding of how this professional has actually been able to galvanize his business throughout the years that he's had. And what I find interesting is that he's built one empire, retired, and is building another. Isona,
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. I just want to take you back to the early days when, that first spark of genius lingered you towards the fire that you've got for business. Can you talk us through that?
Well, thank you very much, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here. By the way, the full name is Esona Onuoha. That means don't follow the world to do bad things in Igbo, an African tribe that I'm from. Esona Onuoha, Esona Onuoha. And the company is called Smate and Smate International Limited that I founded and I'm using. So your question, taking me back to the early days. From as early as I can remember, I've always been fascinated with numbers and the idea of creating something from nothing. I've always liked mathematics. My grandfather used to take me on trips to the farm, to the poultries, and we used to count eggs before sending them out to the hatchery. And from that point, I kind of took an interest in how businesses were organized, how from the workers to the customers, how the chain of activities that were undertaken by people, how they happened. So when I was growing up, I saw how when a well-executed idea could turn into something that could benefit the community, because from the farms we had, my grandfather and my uncles and family built up quite a sizable business that helped the family, should I say, become exposed back in the days. This is in the 70s. So it didn't come from one moment. It came from watching, everyday people and family members hustle with heart, with ingenuity, and with hope. So business was just this problem-solving exercise at a scale, and I like the idea of designing solutions that can make things better and work for people. So that curiosity became my fuel for what I started doing at the time.
Curiosity for problem solving. That is fascinating. So can you give us a synopsis of how you built your first business empire before your retirement?
Well, I guess my early career was built on the foundation of marketing, strategy, and general communications. From a young age, I think at 16, I had traveled to Eastern Europe, Czechoslovakia, Prague. And there I started working with film production with a company called Production International. And I learned how to produce TV commercials and music videos. I also set up my first venture called the Prague Carnival Enterprises, trying to mirror the Notting Hill Carnival in Prague. Apparently, it's still going today under a term called Mayalis. But we attempted the first Prague Multicultural Festival back in 1994. And I was very young then, probably about 20 years old or thereabouts then. I met the president's wife, I met the mayors of the cities of Europe, and I sold them the idea of having an annual event to bring cultures from around the world and showcase it to the Czech people. I had, at the time, Apple computers, Sharp Electronics, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, struggling to give us sponsorship at the time. But I was too young to know what I was doing, and that venture basically didn't see the proper light of day. We had some TV exposure. We did the Restaurant of the Year competition. So I learned the hard way, because after that didn't work out because we didn't get some permits. I realized that there is a little bit more to life than just trying to do a business at a young age. So I had dropped out of university, so I had decided to go back to university and pick up some skills. So I went back to the UK and went back to Westminster University to start getting some knowledge into my head on how to maybe keep and sustain a business. From there, I set up a student-related business called Active Vision, I think, with a group of partners. And that time, multi-level marketing was just a new thing at the time. So new companies were coming out. There was one called One Life we tried to mirror. And over a period of time, the regulators came in and stopped what they were doing and said One Life is not really MLM scheme, is not really right. And then they came up with regulations to stop that sort of
wow.
Instead it was pyramid selling or whatever it was called. They stopped all those. So the regulations came in then, and I had to again go back to the drawing board and work out something else. Then I went into advertising, working with the West Africa magazine, and then from there we started building up what they call a modeling agency, the first internet-based modeling agency, because at that time internet was still new in 1996 around the time, and we set up something called Global Exposure, which was a platform that allowed models and cast and people in casting business to view people's credentials there and select the type of, should I say, the characteristics they wanted in a model. So green eyes, tall, fat, slim, whatever the case may be, they could type it in there and then select what they wanted and do a casting call. So that worked for a while, and my partner at the time had to go back to his architectural studies, and he wanted to shut the company down to do so. So I had an exit, and in that exit, I walked into the energy sector in the UK. I got a friend who introduced me to a guy who was setting up a utility business. At the time, the UK energy industry was just deregulated. Electricity companies could sell gas companies could sell electricity. And I got a job with general and domestic utilities. And from there, I learned how to work within that energy sector. After 2 years of working with him, I basically set up my own business because I got to a point where I wasn't rewarded for the work I did. I built a big business for him, and the promises that were made weren't kept. So I set up my own energy company, and I got a contract with Amarada Hess and Independent Energy in the UK. And we started doing the same thing we were doing for Eastern Energy, for the Indian guy I was working with. And I started doing it for myself, and I got a partner. And in 5 years, we built a network of companies around the UK, from Scotland to Exeter. And we had thousands of people, trained them to go and market gas and electricity. And that's how the first business empire was born. And from there, we grew to a decent turnover. And we invested and got an oil license in Nigeria. And I was lucky enough to be one of those given. The company I set up was given one of the first marginal oil licenses in the country. And that was why I decided to retire early. After I got the oil block, for some reason, prostate cancer showed up in my dad's diagnosis, and he became a prostate cancer sufferer. And from there, legacy-wise, I had to readjust my plans, and I had to move back to Nigeria, where he was living at the time, in order to take stock of what he was doing, because basically take charge of legacy. So I moved back to Nigeria, got into a legal wrangle with the oil and gas partners, because obviously Nigeria being the country it is, they forged my signature to remove me from the company. And there was some confidentialities I signed that I can't say what really happened, but it's been an ongoing process to sort that out, given Nigeria's unique character. So that first business now grew to become a network of connected ventures that fed into one another. From there, I left the oil and gas sector and started working in the creative industries, set up an advertising firm. I worked with my mom's interest, which was in advertising. She had a brother who she set up a company with in the 70s as well, called Rokana Nigeria, who were into advertising. So I spent a year acclimatizing when I moved back to Nigeria with that company, and I understood how advertising worked in Nigeria. Then I went ahead and took a patent on advertising on these tuk-tuks.
This is a motorized tricycle or rickshaw, one of the most affordable means of mass transportation in Nigeria. Unknown to many, it is an advertiser's dream machine. Every day, millions of people get stuck in traffic all over Nigeria. These brief periods of idleness between traffic lights and holdups offer a golden opportunity for brands to speak to their audiences and prospects using the specially printed message-carrying panels mounted on the back and the insides of the ubiquitous kekes. The keke ads.
So I have a patent on advertising on the back of them and inside them, and we've been building a range of products around the tuk-tuk that's morphed into a company called Keke Ads, and it's a company that we're taking across Africa this coming year, and it's something that is a social impact business because we create value by improving the lives of the tricycle riders, and we help create a system for them to earn money and enlighten the public with their vehicles. So we use that for mass sensitization messages on healthcare. We use it for tax advice messaging, and public and private sector clients have been using it for over 15 years in Nigeria now to take messages to the streets, including election messages and stuff. So Keke Ads is one of the businesses. We also got into a relationship with a Norwegian partner called Pickle, who's a technology partner, and Pickle are the gold standard for data preservation and legacy preservation. And they run something called the Arctic World Archives in Norway, where the world memory is being preserved. So luckily, I managed to get into a partnership with them, and I have the franchise for the West Africa region. And I'm partnering with them to make sure that Africa's story is never lost again. And one of our goals is to make sure that every year we have material that's of valuable interest that should be preserved for the future generations, and we will find these and take them to the World Arctic Archives and deposit them. So that became a second business that was now attached to the group. Then when my son was born, I guess after retiring, I decided to basically come out of retirement. And then I'm now back in the UK, trying now to carry on building a second empire.
Oh,
so
marvelous.
That's my story.
Marvelous. So basically you retired about 3 years ago. You're back in business. It's been 3 years now since you're back.
I was 44 because I said to myself, I was going to retire. I had a plan to retire by 45 when I was in the UK. So 44 was when I officially retired and stopped and started just doing social impact things more than anything else. I started an art event. I have an art following. I started something called Life in My City Art Festival in Nigeria, and it's become one of the fastest growing and biggest collection of young artists submitting works for a competition in Africa now. Life in My City is called. So I came up with that in 2007. So that was one of the things I wanted to do to now use my time for good.
Yeah, marvelous. So given your experience, you can actually verbalize the sort of characteristics and the qualities that an aspiring entrepreneur would need, or even a seasoned entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think, well, in marketing, you always have like the 4 Ps, the 5 Cs. I have the 5 Cs of basically what it takes to build a business. And over the years, I think those C's are quite, apt in guiding people. One is clarity, knowing who you are and what problem you solve. 2 is courage, because you're going to be tested a lot more times than you will be praised. So the 3rd is being consistent, because if you have the ability to show up even when there is no motivation, you will definitely go the long way. And the 4th is curiosity, being teachable, being adaptable, and trying to be ahead of the market. And the final one is compassion. That's within. That's because it's about people. It's about your team. It's about the customers, and it's about the people in the community that you serve. So at the end of the day, you have to have that compassion. So Leadership with your heart always wins over leadership with aggrandizement and ego. So I believe in looking for, businesses, people, and situations that these qualities can be brought to the fray.
Oh, that's a magnificent framework to work with. So, given your let's say your re-emergence into business, I would imagine that you would have found things had moved on somewhat, especially now we're in what is considered to be the digital age, and so many other aspects to do with global warming and conservation. Um, have you found any significant difference in navigating what I call to be the new business order?
Well, I think the new order of business from back in the day and now has
Yeah,
changed a lot.
yeah,
It's faster, it's more digital, and it's more global and unpredictable than ever before. So it also rewards the ability to be agile. So if you're agile and you know how to be collaborative with people and you're authentic, it rewards it. For me, navigating the landscape is about simplifying the complexities around us, making complex things look simple, building smarter people teams, using technology intelligently, and also making decisions that are rooted in clarity much more than emotion. So I think in this new world, the brave new world is full of opportunity for anybody who's able to adapt quickly and run inexpensive tests to work out the numbers before scaling. So it's not that challenging. It's just a question of just being able to be ready and prepared and adapt, working with the right people.
Okay, and in your sphere, what I find really fascinating is that being a conglomerate, you've been able to find a esprit de corps which pulls all of them together, albeit artistic, or albeit green, albeit sustainability. Is that always been something that you've had in your mind's eye to do, or has that come naturally?
It's an evolution. I guess at different phases, you go through what's happening around you in the environment around you, and then you adapt
Yeah,
again. Back in the old days when energy was saving money for gas, electricity, everybody was rushing to get people to burn fuels. Now we're
yeah,
all realizing what that's destroying the planet. So we're now going towards greener
green. Yeah,
alternatives. So
yeah,
again, from the transition of signing up hundreds of thousands of people to change their electricity and gas in the old days to fossil fuel companies. I'm now working towards getting those same people to go to electric vehicles, use electric vehicles instead of burning
yeah.
fuels, use greener alternatives. So sustainability has become part of our world, and
Mhm.
we have to do our bits to make sure that we leave something for the tomorrow generations. So
Yeah.
again, that
Mhm.
becomes a rallying
Mhm.
call for
Yeah.
everybody to jump into something, and it helps give us purpose.
Yeah.
So the businesses that I have are trying very hard to sign up into the mantra of the day, which is sustainable businesses, greener businesses, and a better possibility for tomorrow.
Yeah. And I see a thread in all of this from your early days where your vision was about what came from looking at the community and looking what they need. And you're continuing that. I can see that passion continuing throughout, in terms of how your business has actually materialized. I really credit you for that. Now, interestingly enough, you've just finished a challenge with us, our 5-day atomic challenge.
Yep.
What sort of objectives did you have from that? And was it fulfilled?
Yes, I will have to say with a with certainty, yes, it was fulfilled. My main objective was clarity. That was the first thing. I wanted to get clarity on what I was trying to do. I wanted
Yeah,
to structure my businesses, and I wanted to take a moment to pause, assess my world, and identify the one shift that will give me the most impact across everything I'm managing. So it's been very clear that I fulfilled that.
yeah,
So the challenge helped me see my life and businesses from the top and not just from within. It also allowed me to understand my time leaks, simplifying my priorities, and to rebuild a healthier balance between leadership, balance, and then purpose. So it was a reset that I definitely needed, and I'm feeling energized and ready for work every morning. I started the day with you for the past 5 days, and it's been great. So far, so good. And I'm looking forward to actually continuing our sessions, Mike.
Marvelous, marvelous. I really love the sound of that. Excellent. So just to wrap up then, what would be your main message to the viewers watching and listening on the podcast? What would their main message to those who are looking to whether scale their business, start their business? What sort of direction can you give them in a concise form?
Well, I'll say this. To those out there who are struggling and or trying to set up their own businesses or build their own business and empires, I would say build slowly, build wisely, and build with intention. So you wouldn't be chasing every opportunity that comes your way. Just chase the ones that align with what you're doing. And surround yourself with those people that stretch your capacity and not your stress. So always remember that success is not a race, it's a rhythm. So it's like a rhythmic journey. So you enjoy your rhythm once you find it for clarity, consistency, and purpose. Everything else starts to fall into place once you get that rhythm. So that's what I'd have to say to anybody else listening. Thank you, Mike.
Build slowly, build wisely, and build with intention. That's a wonderful soundbite to finish. Thank you so much for your time, Esona, and all the very best for you as you continue to build your empire.
Thank you, Mike, and you have a wonderful, wonderful one. It's been a pleasure, and it's been lovely working with you, and I look forward to it again.
Great.
Cheers.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.